New CIA documents have stated that they believe, and they've believed all along, that COVID came from a Chinese lab. Oh, what a revelation. Why did nobody ever theorize that before? Why was that never pointed out? Huh. So does this mean that the CIA is going to have its Facebook account deleted now? Because that's what happened to the rest of us who even dared to suggest this. We were called racists and xenophobes, and there was this stop Asian hate thing until they realized who was committing the violent crimes against Asian people and that it likely had nothing to do with COVID. We were painted as lunatic fringe conspiracy theorists for daring to say that this came from a lab. I didn't even believe I never believed the bat theory. I never knew where it came from. I remember the first time I heard the lab theory was someone I knew, rest in peace. I'm not going to make fun of on this show, but we'll just say it was someone who was not of a stable mindset. We'll leave it at that. Someone who was probably not the most credible source on it. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I just kind of shrugged my shoulders at it. Then it became more and more clear that that person happened to be right. Something broken clocks. And it became more and more clear that it was a lab leak. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But they continued to double down on this bat theory. By the way, it's the idea that it's racist to say that COVID came from a Chinese lab, but it's somehow not racist to say that it came from a Chinese market where some guy bit the head off of a live bat like Ozzy Osbourne. What are we doing here? What type of gaslighting shit is that? So it's racist to say, hey, they fucked around in a lab, by the way, that we were likely funding, and they caused this global pandemic. But it's not racist to say, yeah, they're just over there biting the head off of bats. What? That's way more racist. I mean, they're both true, but it's way more racist to say that. But so they're saying that COVID came from a lab. It's confirming what we've always known. And that, again, makes the collusion between the Biden administration, the intelligence agencies, and the tech industry that much more criminal. The fact that the CIA knew this or theorized this from the beginning, and then turned around and colluded with companies like Facebook, companies like Twitter, to silence people who were saying the exact same thing they were, is bizarro world. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? So the question, we always got to find the why to the what, right? We know what they did, but why did they do it? Why would they want to? What's the incentive in silencing that theory? Well, as it turns out, the U.S. government spends a substantial amount of money on gain-of-function research all over the world. We call it outsourcing ethics, right? And we've talked about Dr. Fauci's Beagle experiments. Don't look it up if you love dogs and you don't know what I'm talking about. You will become very sick to your stomach and very, very upset at Dr. Fauci. But the U.S. government does this thing called outsourcing ethics, right? So they take studies, scientific studies that, number one, there's no way they would be approved from an ethical and moral standpoint, like experiments on live puppies, letting fruit flies eat their faces while they're chained up in cages, or studies that would not pass the safety protocol in the United States. And the government takes this money and they fund it in other countries that don't have as strict either legal or ethical standards. And that's what happened over there. So that's why they covered it up, because the United States was funding gain-of-function research over in China, and China caused the COVID leak. And our lab that we were funding, now China may have gone and done this anyway, but our lab that we were funding over in China had a leak, and this virus got out and caused chaos over the world. They didn't want to be held responsible. This was a conspiracy through and through. This is not a theory. This is not a conspiracy theory. They have one incentive to cover up the truth that they also believed. They have one incentive to cover up the theory that they also believed to be the accurate one, and that's that they were covering their own ass, and they were trying to gaslight you and lie about this lab leak thing. It's a psyop. Remember we broke down the principles of psyops, the media being in lockstep, character assassination of people who have any other type of theory. So you're a racist if you think it came from the lab. It's the bat theory or nothing. You're a racist if you think the lab. So yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was a psyop. It was a psyop to cover up what Dr. Fauci, what the NIH, what God knows who else in the United States government have been funding over in China, and the fact that while this wasn't totally our fault, we played a major role in making it happen. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you could actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese Spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.